This is the MTPredictor weekly market update for April 27th. So lots of stuff to cover. Let's go through fairly quickly here. Kind of setting the stage this week. We've got the Fed announcement on interest rates. The Fed meeting will start Tuesday, and then the announcement on interest rates Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Full week of economic data as well. So a big week in terms of data and Fed speak. So we'll see if we get a little more clarity. The next few weeks are probably going to be critical for the market, maybe the next few weeks, the next couple months. Here's the S&P on the weekly chart. So again, we know we have that weekly 5-wave pattern up here, and this is the area we anticipate that the market should correct, or typically will correct. In terms of the weekly chart, the correction is typically back to what we call the wave 4 DP here. Now, we talked about this before, that we're probably going to see a lot of this consolidation up here going on. We had divergence up here with our 5-wave pattern, but we also had a holiday came in on this week. Options expiration, this is where we anticipated getting a rally. When we hit this support level here, this little decision point support on the daily chart, expected a rally. Once the Easter holiday passed, then getting the selling after the big rally was typical. We've seen a new high here. We talked about the market maybe head faking one way, then the other way, but really kind of end up going nowhere. And you can see where we closed the week out on last week is we're really basically almost dead center of all the action over this last few weeks. This will get resolved. 1900, nice round number, is out there right around the typical wave 5, so we can go all the way test 1900 and still be in an area where we anticipate a correction. We know we're in the larger monthly decision point resistance area. You've got the underlying internals of the stock market. I think half of the sectors the stock market are in negative territory for the year, so the internals don't look good. So I would favor eventually getting a healthy correction, and then after the correction some type of rally. The question is, where will the rally be? So if we get a sell-off correction coming in the next few weeks or months, and then get a rally, but if they're not able to take out the prior high here on the rally, it could be a potential wave 2, and there could be then more selling coming in for a potential wave 3. We'll see how, especially if the rally, if we sell off and we get a rally that forms like an ABC correction after this important high. If we run to 1900 first and hit the typical wave 5, then correct. But like I said, the internals are not looking good here. We'll see. We get a little more clarity with the Fed meeting, how that impacts things. Maybe the market, that gives it impetus to go ahead and do what it's got to do. You got stuff happening, overseas here with Russia and all that's going on there, and North Korea and everything. So any one of these things could come to the forefront and shake things up. So, but we're in an area the internals are not really healthy. They're deteriorating. So we're wave 5 up. It could happen now. It could happen after a rally to 1900. But I think we're due for a good healthy correction. So anyway, this back and forth action, this chop, will get resolved. It'll break up one way, and then we'll see how it plays out. But that's what we're looking for here, is more consolidation and then a break one way or the other here. Let's look at the dollar index here. Let's see. Here's the weekly chart here. Okay, and you can see this important low here where this decision point buy signal was. Here was the target, which was another major resistance area, and the dollar has not been able to get through this level. We talked about this before. It's just kind of consolidating here. If the dollar does, catch a bid and retest this area, we've tested it 3 times and basically it's failed there. Maybe it's able to break this next. If it does, rally, we've got reason to believe it could. Again, we looked at this I think last week on the monthly chart. Here is we had a if we go back here, okay, this area, there's important swing lows back here. I'll just take a decision point off of this one here where this buy signal was. Alright, so this is an important support area, and you can see the dollar sold off into that level. Alright, is where we got the weekly decision point buy signal in here. We got the rally in the dollar, and this is where it's kind of consolidated to hit that weekly resistance here. Again, this is the monthly chart, but here it was our important low. We got a rally, and then this was the first ABC correction here where this TS3 is. And this is interesting because one of the possibilities for this is that this is a potential wave 3. So this could be a 1, this ABC correction, in a wave 2, and this could be a potential wave 3, which would put the dollar testing the 100 level here. Now again, we know it's stuck at daily resistance, hasn't been able to go through it, but if it can get through that, all right, then there's a possibility, if they can take out the wave C targets here, that it's going wave 3 up, which would probably, is probably going to put a lot of pressure to the downside on gold. All right, but if it can't, gold may rally. We can look at that, from here. Let's look at silver. Actually, I got silver up here. Silver on the daily chart now just completed a 5-wave pattern down. Now the thing I'm looking at here is, we've talked about before, on all the turns, if I go to the weekly chart, on all these turns, you see when it made a bottom here, you see all the volume that came in, had high volume came in, even on the turn from wave 4 heading into potential wave 5, a lot of volume coming in. Here, the sell-off here from wave 2, the big move down here, you see a lot of the volume that came in on all these turns. Here's another turn here, the volume that came in on the turn. All right, we didn't have that here. We had low volume here. That's why I wasn't expecting that this was the bottom here, that this rally anyway was not something that we're looking at that was going to turn the trend. But now you see this pullback here is not only we have on high volume, we have a high volume spike that's telling there's unusual volume activity happening here. Now they didn't take out the prior swing low. Usually what happens when you get these high volume spikes is we'd sell off down into this support area here, and the high volume spike would come in and trap people that were selling the break of that swing low, trap them and then shoot off here. But we do have to pay attention because we have high volume, and that's what we've seen on all the turns when the market does make when silver does make a good move, up or down, it's off of some high volume. So we've got high volume came in last week. In fact, in both the daily chart on Friday and for the week. So this may be an indication, and we closed the week out with buyers. This blue candle tells us buyers were overcoming sellers. The red high volume spike here may be an indication that those buyers were actually professional buyers stepping in. And if that's the case, all right, then and that coupled with the fact that if we go to the daily chart, we just completed a 5-wave pattern down. So here we anticipate that the market may correct now back up to the wave 4 DP. So that's going to put it again testing just above $20, 2050, 2060 level. Then we'll see if this holds as resistance. then the trend which was down prior should continue down. We may just roll over again from here and retest the the $19 level. Right, but if they take this area out to the upside now we can go to the top of wave 1 here. See if we can take our decision point. Alright, if they take this level out, then we may test this 2250 level. The tendency is if they take this level out, they're going to wipe this whole 5-wave pattern down to the upside. So if they take this out, this is the next target. If they reach this target, they will have broken this trend line down here, and then maybe the bottom has in fact been in with what we're seeing now in the weekly chart. Again, if I go back to the weekly chart, I know I'm taking a lot of time on this, but it's kind of a critical, I think, area here, coupled with the fact that is the dollar going to make a move, or is the dollar just not going to be able to do it? And if it's not, then maybe this is maybe the bottom is in gold and silver, and we're going to get that rally if they break this trend line down here. Here's your first resistance we looked at. Here's the next at 2250 level, and that would break that trend line. And then if they take that out, now we look at this DP off of the wave 4 here. All right, and it just becomes a progression. All right. On the other hand, if the dollar does, is able to rally and take out that resistance level that it's tested and retested and retested and has not been able to do, right, then one of these levels should hold, and we'll roll over. We should see that 1750 target or retest of the lows back here. But this high volume here on the weekly, especially if they take out last week's high, then may confirm that we've got buyers overcoming sellers, and that may be professional buying stepping in here. And it's certainly possible, because like we talked about, here is our wave 5 pattern. Expect the correction back to the wave 4 DP, which is this level. If this holds as support, then the trend which was up prior here should continue up. If it gives way, then again we go back to the bottom of the go to the bottom of the wave 1 here, and that gives us the next target to the downside. Alright, so I think the next few weeks, maybe a few months, will be kind of critical. I think we'll get some resolution to some of this stuff we've been watching for quite a while. Alright, so finally let's wrap up with the option plays are done, those seasonal plays. SNA here had the nice rally into the decision point support, so we talked about this, was it last week, taking profits here, and that window closed as well. Alright, so that was I think that was a 7, I think it was about a 7.5% move there. So very nice there. RSG, again, this one rallied, reached the decision point support, kind of retested it there. So an exit at one of those points, for a $1 pop or so there since the buy date. Not great, but Allstate, this was one, didn't quite reach any clear target. 58 was out there, didn't get there, didn't get to the DP. Had a little pop after the buy date, but this one is kind of a probably break even on that. ADS, this one here was the buy date right here. A nice pop there, from 278.55 to 300, which was the big target there. A nice round number, and you can see that was definitely the target, because they dropped off a cliff from there. So, but this was a nice ADS. Well, this was about 7.7%. SNA, I think I said, was 7. That was about 4.5%. I think that move. Avon, this one just had a pop after a while, didn't quite reach the resistance level there, and then just came kind of back to the buy area. So probably break even there. Hershey's was really the a tough one. Depending on, this was one that we were waiting for a pullback anyway. You can see how it was already extended. Here's your 50 period and your 200 period. We were looking for it to come pull inside the 50 period. So here was a buy in here. In fact, the software gave an automatic buy signal here. But you know, from this one from 102.80 to about 104. 104.50 or so. So it was a nice little pop there, a couple dollars. But if you didn't get it there, either you broke even there or exited, or 2% loss there. If you waited for the pattern, there was another pattern. Oops, here. This is 5-wave pattern, and then entered here in wave 5. And got a little pop, maybe. So it just depends on where you got in and how you played that. Otherwise, it's basically a 2% loss there. And Boeing did get to the target there after it had an attempt here. Didn't quite reach it, pull back, and then just last week popped and reached the level there from 124.50 to around that 130. Nice round number, 130 and change. Alright, so those are wrapped up. We'll wrap up here. We'll be back. Get this Fed meeting out of the way, see if that gives a little more clarity, and kind of get this pattern that we're in, this consolidation in the S&P, get that to break one way or the other. We'll see. So watch that 1900 on the upside, a nice round number. If they can't get there, then obviously we'll probably begin the correction, and then after a healthy correction, we should see a rally, and we'll see where that rally puts us at that point. So, all right, take care. Have a good rest of your trading week, and we'll see you back next week.